All right, so I hope you don't mind, but I wanted to change it up a little bit this episode and start with a poem. Just a really quick 10 to 15 second poem. If you'll listen in,
Should I be nervous about this?
you can let me know after.
Okay.
The title of the poem is called Bunny Girl.
So yes.
I'm trying to get into okay. Bunny Girl, isn't it funny how money, the one thing that comes between us, palms sweaty, skin flush, heart racing, adrenaline rush. The wicked world whispers, but judging eyes pierce the soul. The soft touch of your whiskers calms me. Peace, silence, I pay the toll. Living in our own world, our little bunny hole. Bunny girl, bunny girl. The end.
We're gonna get canceled hard. You even put a palm sweaty in there. Holy.
Dude, my stomach.
Oh no.
I couldn't look at your face this whole time. I was like, I can't.
I can't look at your face now after that.
And that's the end of the episode.
Oh no. For some people, I think.
Yeah, that's the viewership just dropped off right there.
Wow, well, that gave me shivers. We're starting this episode off with our 5 biggest regrets in Pokemon card collecting. I'm just going to try and push past this.
This might be one of your biggest regrets, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to let you start this off. So we're going to go from we'll end with our biggest regret. So why don't you go first?
Okay. I don't know how much of an order mine are in, but the first one I thought this was like one of the easiest things when you offered or put the idea out there of like, hey, let's do our 5 biggest regrets. I was like, 5 is not enough. Like I immediately knew I was going to be able to come up with something pretty easily. But my first one is not buying Sun and Moon boxes when they were like sitting on store shelves here in Japan at like MSRP for months and months and months at a time. I came back into the hobby in 2019, and even before then, maybe like early 2019, late 2018, I remember just like going in the mall and seeing Pokemon and like recognizing it again and being like, oh, that's so cool. I used to collect Pokemon, but never picking it up. Even when I came back in like late 2019 and actually started buying cards, I wasn't buying ultra modern at the time. I was buying vintage stuff like the base set Charizard because I never had one as a kid. And then I started finding like things like non-TCG stuff, which I'm not regretting that I bought those things because those things I actually really like for my collection. But as far as like financial possible like potential profit that I could have had, it's just crazy because these boxes are like $1,000, $2,000 boxes in Japanese even. And so like looking back and seeing how they were just sitting there and how hard it is to get product now. You can't even get a box. They take the shrink wrap off. They don't even let you have the box. They have like a 5-pack limit at most places. So just a totally different time. And obviously hindsight's 2020, but I regularly think about that time when I was like just passing them by like all the time, every weekend. I'd see them at the mall and just, oh, that's cool, and walk away.
Ouch, man.
Yeah, I'm sure like people could probably relate. There's probably a lot of people that have had that same experience. Maybe not with Sun and Moon, but other things.
Yeah, I definitely did, and I'll share that soon. But for number 5 for me, it's the Pikachu World Collection.
Is that the one you sold?
The one I sold just a few months ago in, I
Yeah.
think, October, was it? Maybe it was September. Yeah, so I got that. It's a portfolio of 9 exclusive Pikachu cards. I got that in 2010, I believe, the year it came out. It was $20, and it was
That's
actually a
crazy.
gift from a friend, so I got it for free. And I sold it for $1,250 just recently. The reason I regret selling it is because just 2 weeks after I sold it, it went up to like 3,700, I think. And I haven't checked it since because I can't. I don't want to know.
Yeah, it's crazy how those things can jump so drastically.
Yeah, I'm not complaining because I went from, a $20 value up to 1,250 after taxes, shipping, and fees.
50x.
I made $1,000, so I'm trying not to
That's crazy.
complain, but it's just the fact that like I held on to this thing for 15 long years and sold it 2 weeks early. It's a tough pill to swallow. So
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be a baby about it. And the $1,000 I made from it, I am privileged to be in a position where I don't need that $1,000 for rent or food. So I put it into a Charizard fund uh, because I'd like to buy a first edition Charizard one day. So, to think that there could be an extra 2 grand in that fund, it's a bummer. So,
Yeah.
so that's number 5 for me.
Yeah, I think I've had that fear with other things like I shouldn't when should I sell, and like trying to figure that out is almost impossible because you never know when something like that will happen. I mean, that's an example right there. 2 weeks later, you were 2 weeks off. That's crazy. Um, Number 4 is more of a specific example, I guess, but this applies to many, many, many cards. Not buying the Van Gogh Pikas when they were $60 a piece. I remember when that whole thing and the madness that happened at the museum, it was in Amsterdam.
Mhm.
It was just craziness, but it was another ultra modern promo. Even though it was a Pika, it wasn't hollow. It was a full art, but it wasn't hollow. It was like, oh, that's kind of lame. They didn't make it a holographic. Looking back or looking at it now, it's like, oh, it's not that bad that it wasn't hollow. But I remember just people putting them up on the internet and offering them for $60, and there's still so many out there. There was a lot, and I was like, $60 is way too much for this card. I don't think it's worth this. And this was a wholly different time. Even then, that was a big price tag. I feel like for some of these cards. And then again at like $100 to $120, people were offering them, and I'm like, that's crazy. This card is just not going to hold that price. And now it's like, I don't know what it is raw, but in a PSA 10, it's $1,800. Probably raw, it's probably like 300 to 400, I'm guessing, but I could be wrong. It's probably actually more. No, but I have one. I do have one. It's not a 10. It was in, I forget what slab it was in. I cracked it out, but it was a 5, I think, because it had like a small, it had a tiny bit of whitening on, like, I think 2 corners, and then it had a small like impression um, that I try to like flatten out, and then I cracked it, try to flatten it out, and then I resubmitted to ARS. So we'll see what it comes back. I think maybe you can get an ARS 8 or 9, hopefully a 9, but I don't think it'll get the 10.
Yeah, that one's a bummer. I remember seeing that, and I didn't get the one in the Pokemon Center order. Uh,
Mm.
I think it was a little different than I think you didn't know if you're getting it or not. I can't remember. I did order something though. The card wasn't there. I was bummed, but yeah, same thing. I went online. They were like 100 Canadian, and I was like, yikes, no way. I'm not touching it for that. Um, but yeah, even if we look at that card today, I think that is one of the few cards that I actually feel like confident. Oh man, the irony. I feel confident now that they are overpriced.
Yeah. Yeah. But then you look at cards at like the Mario Pika, which are also mass produced, but they're like 15,000 in a 10 or something, some crazy number. And you're like, well, that's a mass produced promo too. Maybe not as much as the Pikas, but um, yeah, it's just hard to even think like what's going to happen. It could go down a bunch or it could go up.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I never got the Van Gogh Pikachu. Also, pretty lukewarm, neutral card for me. I like it, but I'm okay not owning one.
Yeah.
Number 4 biggest regret for me is opening vintage booster packs, and I'm not talking about when we were kids. I actually never opened very many packs when I was a kid, maybe like 5. So for this to make sense, I started collecting in 1999. I stopped around 2007, and I picked it back up again in 2011. And yes, I got the Pikachu World Collection when I wasn't actively collecting Pokemon cards. In 2011, I got back into Pokemon and I bought a whole bunch of vintage booster packs. not as an investment. It was my first time having disposable income because I had a job as a teenager, and so I bought. I s- I've spoken about this in the past. I may have said 30, maybe it was 25. It's somewhere between 25 and 30 base set booster packs, and I opened all but 3
Mm.
base set booster packs. I think I paid around $6 or $7 a piece for them.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
What are
and
they
this,
now?
I think they're around like 700-800 Canadian.
Depending if they're light or heavy. I'm sure heavy or like more.
Yeah, so I don't know if I knew about weighing packs then or what happened, but I got no hits, no hollows
Oh damn.
out of
Somebody knew.
yeah,
Because it was like
somebody.
what was it like 1 in 3 was a hit back in the day, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you got like 14 hollows or 12 hollows in a booster box.
I believe it was between uh 10 and 14, 9 and 14
Something,
or
yeah.
something. I
It's
I
like, yeah.
I know 14's on the high end. Um, yeah, I regret
Do
doing that. That totally sucked. Furthermore, I bought
you still have the cards?
yeah, it's just
Oh,
base set bulk. It's probably what makes up most of my base
they're
set.
probably clean though, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Most of my base set unlimited is near mint.
Nice.
Um, that's not all though. I also bought a bunch of jungle packs. I bought 6 of these.
Ooh.
These
I didn't
are
know you had those.
jungle blisters. These are all open and empty. I opened them all.
Oh.
I
Oh,
opened every
okay. I
single
didn't
one.
regrets.
Of course, you can't weigh these. I
I thought
got
there was like a like, oh, but I didn't open everything, and then you had.
I opened them all. Um, these can't be weighed, so I got an electrode and 2 Flareons.
Oh, nice.
Sure.
Would you say I have 2 Flareons and what?
An electrode.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a bummer, man. Imagine if I had just one of these sealed. I would be so happy, but instead I have 6 ripped ones. I
those
opened
look so
6 of them.
good. Those little hanger or check lane blisters, the
And
old school vintage ones.
I wasn't even like careful with them because I do remember the price on these. These were $6.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
and
crazy, dude. That you were spending. Oh,
this was
such a different time.
just some disposable income I had. This was 2011, and I was like, whatever. I never got to open packs when I was a kid. I'm gonna purchase my childhood experience back, and there's something to be said about that. I opened 30 base set booster packs and a bunch of jungle packs, and that's an experience that's definitely worth something. So I didn't totally screw myself over. I got to do that, which a lot of people don't have the luxury or privilege to do these days. So that's cool. I did keep 3 base set boosters sealed, and I have them on display today. But that wasn't out of um like a like an investment. Uh, I didn't do that for any investment or value reasons. I just wanted to keep 3 on display because I was a big fan of vintage Pokemon, and I thought, I would be happier if they were sealed. And so I kept them sealed. It
You
had
ever weighed them
nothing.
before? You should weigh them.
Since the other 27 were light, I don't believe I have weighed them actually, but yeah, I'm
They're
certain they're
probably
light.
light. Yeah.
Um, imagine if all 3 were heavy though.
Oh, that'd be
Oof.
tempting. I'd be like, ooh, the Charizard's in there. That's
uh,
crazy.
yeah, so that is my 4th biggest regret. I wish I kept 10 of them sealed,
And
maybe.
yeah, it's bittersweet. It's like you had that experience, like you said, not a lot of people can just like, especially people coming in now. It's like good luck. I mean, you got to really throw down some cash to open that. And then the value's just probably you're not gonna get your money back on it. Um, number 3 we're on.
Mhm.
Number 3 for me is another kind of specific thing is not setting, I guess it's not too specific, but I have some examples. Not setting specific goals or setting specific goals for collecting, but not sticking to them. Getting distracted with everything. There's just so much in Pokemon. And there's always the new shiny thing and wanting to be a part of, what everybody's talking about. So you like, oh, I'm gonna go buy that. And I still do that to this day. But because of that, I had a lot of, specific things in vintage that I wanted to keep. And I would consider most of my personal collection vintage. I have a lot of modern stuff back here, but this is stuff that is either going to get opened or given away on the channel one day if I ever become big, or open for content, or sold, But most of what I actually want to keep and consider my personal collection, my PC, is vintage stuff. So, I clearly knew I wanted to complete a vending series set, complete a VS set. I really like those sets. They're super unique art. They're Japanese exclusive. Some of the cards are printed in other languages, but pretty for the whole set in its entirety, it's exclusive to Japanese. And I don't think I have like more than 5 vending series cards. And VS cards, I probably have, I don't know, 20. I have some bigger ones, but I just, yeah, there's so many other things that I collected. And not to say I don't have any like of my other collection goals. Like I have a lot of Top Sun, and I have some card ass and things like that, which I care about more than the VS and vending series. But I could have been a lot further in those sets if I wasn't distracted with the other things, and I stuck to the goals I set. So not sticking to goals, I think, is probably one of my biggest regrets.
I bet that one's common. I mean, I think
Yeah.
everyone probably feels that.
Yeah, I was doing some of these, and I was trying to like think like, are people gonna be able to relate to them? And I think a lot of the regrets I have, I'm probably in the same boat with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so. Number 3 for me is disliking modern. Sticking my nose up at modern, actually. So most of it, yeah, I think most of my regrets take place in this 2011 to 2012 collecting phase I went through.
Hmm.
But this bleeds into uh, modern day, actually. But yeah, for a long time, I stuck my nose up at modern and sort of treated it like really, I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I treated it like it was for kids and I was too good for it. So in 2011, when I was collecting 2012, I remember Black and White came out. And my girlfriend at the time, who wasn't into Pokemon, she went and got me some Black and White booster packs from the store. And I stuck my nose up at them and I said, I don't want these. I don't care about these. This was Black and White base, for reference. And I don't recognize these Pokemon. I don't consider these canon. This is an abomination. And I really acted that way right through to the pandemic. The main sort of driver of this regret is XY evolutions. I remember seeing evolutions on the shelves and walking by them on a weekly basis. And I thought it was so pathetic that Pokemon was bringing back vintage cards. And I was like, kids these days, they don't understand what vintage is. This is an abomination. I would be embarrassed to buy this. What has Pokemon become? And I just refused to like modern because I was too cool to like modern. These Pokemon weren't my Pokemon.
Yeah.
Um, and I was that way right up until, honestly, until Sword and Shield Alt Arts came out, I think. Because I think
Wow.
2016 to the pandemic, I never fully stopped collecting, but there were definitely months stretches where I wasn't actively like looking at Pokemon cards. But the pandemic is what kind of people were picking up modern, and I was like, okay, a lot of people are going for modern now because I wasn't much of an E4 guy. I was on PokeGym all the time, which is I think pretty heavily skewed to vintage collectors. But I started getting on like Reddit and stuff like that, and people are going crazy for modern. So I didn't really like the Rainbow Pikachu VMAX, the Chonkachu everyone was chasing for in Vivid Voltage. I was like,
Mm.
no, I'm a vintage boy. You guys don't know anything. You guys like, you know, typical old man complaining about kids these days. And then I think it was Tyranitar V from Battle Styles, the like sleeping drunk
Oh yeah,
Tyranitar.
Sleepy and
I
T-Tar, yeah.
was I was like, what is this? This is cool. This is a nice card. I'm kind of into this. And then Evolving Skies, that Dragonite V alt art, that really, really
Yeah,
changed my mind.
that's a sick card.
I was like, I want that. And then it was actually the
Do you have it?
Celebi. I don't.
I don't have it either. I want it though.
I think the card that really, really like flicked the switch for me, which I also don't have, is the Celebi V from Fusion Strike. It may have been a promo in Japanese, but it's got the cherry blossoms behind it.
Yeah, that's a
That
good
I
card.
I was like, okay, I'm in. And then yeah, Evolving Skies and whatever else came out in Sword and Shield. Trying to think, like you know, all those
All
sets,
these, yeah, crazy
celebrations.
sets. The V Star Universe or Crown Zenith was a crazy set.
Yeah. Silver Tempest, Lost Origin, celebrations. I spent a lot of money on. That's when I got into modern and felt like a big idiot and was ashamed of my attitude for the past like 10 years, to be honest. Um, I stuck my nose up and I was acting too good for modern, which we now call mid era. Um,
Yeah, that's
yes,
crazy. I
yeah.
think a lot of people felt that way. Like, there's Rudy's from Alpha Investments, his like failed Pokemon bathroom where he had just XY product that people didn't want, like you that didn't want it. I wasn't around during them, but I probably didn't want it if I was back, there back then. Um, and now it's just it's worth crazy amounts of money and people want it. I think, like you said, it did take me some time also to get used to the modern stuff and like taking the time to like warm up to it. But I think the cool thing about modern is not only just the art's more dynamic, it gives you that storytelling that we didn't really have with a lot of vintage cards. Maybe it was just really cool art maybe back then, or really cool Pokemon, but there's so much storytelling now that happens in cards, and cards that connect to each other, and just different lore things that are really really cool, that make the cards more interesting, I guess.
Before we move on to number two, we want to quickly plug Rate Your Pokemon Cards, sponsoring this podcast again. Thank you so much, Justin. This is a website that we love to support because it's not all about, there's no crypto or mystery packs or stats and stuff like that. Those websites have their place, but this is all about the art of Pokemon cards. That's why we're big fans about it, and that's why we love promoting this. It's called rateyourpokemoncards.com. You build a profile, you go on and you just rate cards on a scale of 1 to 5, however you like. There's no price or value attached to them. It's simply artwork. And there have been some new updates that we would like to cover. So it's the first one here, Shug.
So yeah, we got a new profile page. I guess there's these public profiles, so you can go on to. I guess let me click back. You can go onto a card and then look at someone who has commented. Looks like Platy commented on the Koto Mew and said it shows the rating next to their name, what they rated the card, and then she said this card looks so beautiful when held up to the light. And then you could click on her profile and see her badges. They have badges now. So she's got the rater badge and the commenter badge. Tells you how many times she's rated cards right below it, and then the comments as well. And then if you click over here, you can see the available badges. So it kind of gives you a little objective or mission to go in there, and it just incentivizes being active on the site. It's really cool. Like you said, I like that you could see the comments attached to, or the rating attached to what that person gave that card. Now I know who I can tell that they're wrong for the rating they gave. Yeah, and then the last thing really quickly before we get back to the ratings, if you click on, I don't know if I can click on this card. I think I'm on the wrong screen, that's why. So if you click on a card, they fixed the navigation. There was an issue with the navigation where, like, if you typed in an artist's name, um, and then went through one of their cards, like Oyama's Cubchoo here. And then you click the next button, it would go to the next. I believe this is what was happening: is it would go to the next set in the card instead of the next card that drawn by that artist. Is that correct?
Yeah, you got it. So now if you search an artist or a set or whatever you go into, the back and next buttons will now do basically what you would expect them to do. So it's a little
Yeah,
bit smoother. Navigation's a little bit better. You can roll through an artist and rate all of those artists' cards. So that's a little
yeah.
bit, I like that a lot.
All right. Um, so my second number two, like I said, I don't know how much of an order this is in, but yeah. So number two for me is I actually have a specific card example, and this is something when I came back into the hobby. I don't know if you had this similar feeling. I'm sure a lot of people did, but you get really excited. You just, especially if you've been out for, 10, 15, 20 years, there was that sense of discovery and like just rediscovering new things you've never seen before. And that hit me. And I was just like online trying to learn as much as I could, but I didn't learn enough soon enough. And I let the FOMO and the excitement take over, and I saw this card on Mercari. I was on Mercari, just, I don't know, typing in random things in Japanese, and I found this card that came up. And I was like, this is the coolest card I've ever seen. It's a Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise base set artwork, but all on the same card in the same artwork box. And I was like, I've never seen this card. It must be a Japanese exclusive. I need to buy this now before someone else buys it. And like this is very embarrassing for me to share, but this was one of my biggest regrets for many years. This card right here, I bought it, and I bought it for like a ridiculous price, like $60 or $80. It is not a real card.
Oh
This
no.
is a
No.
fake, like fan made prototype card. It looks really cool, but it's obviously a fake. This is early day Shugg, not just uneducated and unexperienced. And for the longest time, I was embarrassed about this. I was like, nobody knew about this. This is like the first time I'm publicly talking about this, actually. Nobody knows this except for one other person. And I was just so embarrassed by it. And I regretted that I got duped, and later found out it wasn't real. But now I don't really regret it. I really, it's almost one of my favorite cards because it's a reminder to me about that time in the hobby where I came back in. Everything was really exciting. I missed that sense of discovery. There's so much know that like now that I've gone through, and I kind of feel like I know most things that are out there that are like exist in Pokemon. Every so often I'll find things here and there that I'm like, that is super cool. I didn't know that existed at all. But that time in the hobby for me, where just everything was new, it was like sensory overload. I was like, this stuff is all so cool. So it's like a good memory now. So kind of like a regret, but has turned into something uh, really cool for me in my collection.
I'm glad you turned it into something
The
good.
judgment in your eyes right now.
I also have that card.
Oh, do you really?
I bought it for $1 on Etsy.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
this just makes me feel worse.
Sorry. It is badass. I love it.
It is such a cool card,
Um
but very fake.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
You're like, yeah, I knew
I'm sorry.
that.
Ouch, man.
Yeah.
Um
You can see I'm blushing. I'm turning red because I'm so embarrassed.
okay, my second biggest regret is passing up a first edition base set booster box for $9,000. This was back in my 2011 collecting phase once again. And I'm going to keep this one brief because this actually ties into my biggest regret quite a bit. But yeah, I uh I there was a base set booster box, first edition on eBay for $9,000. That was the buy it now price. So I'm sure they went for a little less elsewhere, or I could find a better deal. But I really, really wanted it. I was I think I just turned 17, so I didn't have a lot of money. And I moved out of my parents' house, I think like right after my 17th birthday or something. So I was like trying to make rent, and I had to like buy a toaster and stuff like that. Um, and it's like $9,000 at that time feels like 100 grand to me
That's
now.
crazy. Yeah.
Like, you know, just something that I didn't think I could achieve. But I really, really wanted it. And then I crashed my car and I got a very generous payout from the insurance company. It was, I think it was $6,500.
Ooh. You're like, I can
And
walk.
yeah, and it was eating away at me. I was like, I want this so bad. I want this so bad. And I actually have the money, which is the most money I had in my life. And
I'm rich.
but I've always had this sense of like um an aversion to guilt, I guess, is what it was really. I knew I'd feel guilty if I spent this money on it, and I didn't. I passed up a first edition base set booster box when all I had to do was save up another $2,000 and I could have had it.
Could have had $1 million box.
Yeah.
That's crazy. 9,000. I was never in the hobby during that time. I don't know what it was in 2019, but well, it was probably that's when Logan Paul opened his. So it
Yeah,
was like a
that was a point of no
250,000 or
return there.
whatever. Yeah, 300 something like that. That's crazy. When was this? What year?
2011.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing in 2011. Nothing worth talking about on this podcast.
I think it was January 2011. Yeah.
January 13th. All right, number one for me. Uh, sort of ties into the goals and setting goals and stuff, but buying lots. It kind of ties into the last one too, and getting excited with things. But buying lots of either poorer condition cards or smaller low end cards, rather than saving up for one or a few high grade cards or expensive cards or one big grail card. That's something that I think, I don't know, maybe I'm not the only one, but I think probably more than a handful of people are probably with me on this, where it's like, it's, you can, I don't know, you save up some money and then you're like, oh, I have enough for like this grade of this card, and it's, maybe not the 10, but it's a hard card to get in a 10 or expensive card to get in a 10. The 8 is good or the 9 is good, and then I can buy another card, and you just get caught up in it. But then when you look back, sometimes you're like, okay, I have all these 8s and these 9s that are probably, I'd be happier if and consolidated that money, saved up, and instead waited, a few more months or a year or 2 more years, and then bought like a really big grail card, a piece for my collection. And I don't think that's something that's obvious right away to people, but over time, as you build your collection, you might find those pieces in your collection. You're like, maybe I should have not bought that, and instead put that money aside to buy something bigger that I wanted. So that's probably one of my regrets, I would say. Is this number one? Do we already?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're on number
Mm-hmm.
one. Yeah. I don't know if it's actually my number one, but it's probably one of my bigger ones.
It's very relatable.
Yeah.
Okay, my number one biggest regret in Pokemon card collecting, it kind of ties into all of mine, but mostly the last one. My biggest regret is a general lack of finance skills when it really mattered. So,
Mm.
finance is now actually one of my strengths, but I grew up in a low income environment and my mom struggled with finances. And what she taught me was to save my money and then spend it on something I wanted and then start saving my money again. And I took that pretty seriously. I remember mowing lawns and doing chores and babysitting my neighbor's kids to save up for an iPod video. And that took forever. And when I had the money, I bought the iPod video, which was worth like $50 in 3 years, Um,
Yeah.
if I had kids now, which I don't, I'd teach them to save their money and then either invest it or buy something that would appreciate instead of cutting edge tech or toys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really didn't have any financial skills until I was in like my mid 20s. I really honestly didn't mature until my mid 20s. I was making poor decisions until then. So in my 2011 collecting phase, and one of the reasons that base set booster box, I feel like it really slipped through my fingers was because I never had money. That payout from crashing my car was the only time I had actual money.
Hmm.
I was I made terrible decisions. I spent all my money on beer and Weedle and doing dumb stuff. And it's just like I never went to like post-secondary education to get a good job or anything like that. So it really has left me with a lot of regret surrounding my 2011 to 2012 collecting phase because I was into Pokemon. I I knew what the Trophy Kang was. I saw the blurry pre-release Raichu picture. I knew about the snap cards. I wanted a first edition Charizard, but I could not save up a few $100s. It was impossible to me. I couldn't do it. Uh, and that's what I regret most because I look at the other guys who have been in the hobby, like I don't know, TCA Gaming, for
Hmm.
example, um, Pokemon Card Classics, for example, SM Pratt, for example, Gem and
All the
Pokemon.
OGs, yeah.
Yeah, I was on Pokegym then. I was collecting when these guys were collecting. Um, but now, 15 years later, they have something to show for it, and I don't because I was a craphead teenager. And I think that's the one true regret on my list because the others are bummers. Um, but I don't know how much I truly regret them because, they're part of what makes me who I am today. But this one
Hmm.
I do retract. I do truly regret because I feel sometimes like a fraud because I was collecting then, but I don't have much to show for it. These guys came out of there with trophy cards and illustrators in
Uncut
extreme
sheets.
cases, uncut sheets. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
another thing. I was fully aware of this stuff. I just couldn't get my crap together and save up. Like,
That was actually going to be one of mine. I mean, that's kind of ties into what I said for my last one. You just said it way better, but I was going to say lacking consistency in either content creation, collecting, or like the flipping side of Pokemon for me. Like you said, when you came in, you were in with all these other guys. You were aware of them at least that they were here, and then you 10 years later look back and you're like, these guys have done some crazy stuff. And I have that same with like groups of people that I came in with 7 years ago, 6 years ago, and I mean, I don't regret it. That's why I didn't put it. It was because I have like different life situation too. I have like 3 kids. I was going to school to get my master's. I did all this other stuff. I work full time at a hospital. Um, but yeah, there's some guys that I came in with, and we were started at the same level, but they got 6, 7 figure businesses with Pokemon now, and have or their YouTube channel started where mine was, and they blown up into mainstream. So yeah, seeing that is I don't know if a regret for me, but I did have some, I guess, some kind of feeling of that a little bit. Yeah,
yeah, it's tough. Like, I wish I just had some discipline.
yeah.
You
I
know,
guess that's yeah the
I
discipline I lacked.
I grew up with no discipline in my household. I could be bad and break the rules, and I didn't get in trouble. And I also didn't play sports or learn the guitar or like have something to like reinforce that like if you try something or if you're consistent with something, you earn.
You get good at it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I do have some things to show for it, like my sealed booster packs. I also at the time bought all of the Japanese, like I just bought a brick off eBay of the Japanese base set commons.
nice,
Um, I think for like $9 or something like it was single digits for sure.
nice. That's really
Um,
good.
yeah, and so I got those graded, I think 2 years ago now. Two of them
Oh
got
wow,
9s, two of them got 10s. And like, so this Pikachu, for example, this is the base set Pikachu in Japanese. It's a PSA 10. This is worth $2,100 Canadian.
that's crazy.
I paid literal pennies for it.
That's wild. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's stuff like this. I still made out like a bandit compared to someone today who's just getting into Pokemon. Uh, but it was tough, man. Like it's tough. Like I'm being real right now. It's hard to. It gets to me sometimes. Like I went to a neighboring city with my girlfriend at the time back in 2011, and I needed one more card for my base set, and it was Charizard. And
Mm.
we went to some hobby or game shop, and they had a Charizard there, and it was $40. It was pretty beat up. Um, and she's like, "There it is, buy it. It's only $40." And she didn't know, but there's no way I was making rent if I spent that $40 on the Charizard. I could not cover my half of rent. Also, Charizards at that time were like $20. So I was like, hell no, I'm not spending, like that's
That's a
ridiculous.
rip off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge rip off. And a week later she said, "Hey, I got something for you." When I was at work, she drove all the way back and she bought me that Charizard, that
Oh
$40
wow.
Charizard. So I was able to complete my base set. So
Nice.
um, that's cool. But that just goes to show like how much of an idiot I was, how I just, was just making poor decisions and couldn't even spend $40 without missing my half of rent. So that was a little long winded and maybe a little deeper than I intended, but that is my biggest regret.
Well, if you ever feel bad about anything, just remember I spent $80 on this. If
Oh,
anybody ever wants to use this, if you feel bad about something you've done in Pokemon and regret something, remember Shugg spent $80 on a card that probably took pennies to make because he thought it was a super secret Japanese exclusive promo.
man, the guilt of selling that to someone for $80 would eat me alive. Like
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
that is brutal, man. I mean, you can
That's funny.
probably buy a brick of those for like $5.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well,
Ouch.
let's not talk about it ever again.
Okay, that was our opening segment. I know we're 40 minutes in, but welcome to Weekly Weedle. This is episode 17. Um, do you want to just get right into the news?
Yeah, let's do it. We're 40, you said 45 minutes in. What's the first thing we got here?
Yeah, so probably the biggest, I think biggest news is the PSA 10 Logan Paul's Pikachu Illustrator got re-slabbed. Was this
Yeah.
surprising to you?
Yeah, I don't think that's something I would never have put on my 2026 bingo card. The reslabbing of the Pikachu Illustrator while it's being currently bid on in auction. Like in the middle of people like paying for this, they just decided to put it in a new slab, and I don't know. It doesn't seem it didn't seem right, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, it felt like, hey, if you guys were gonna do this, you should have done it years ago. Like,
Before you put it for auction, go get it
but
reslab. I don't know.
it was getting a lot of heat.
It
So
was true. So maybe it was reactive more than anything. Was just people like us
definitely.
talking about how bad it was. Um, I don't know if you want to bring up the scans of the new
Yeah,
scans because they did change the pictures on the golden auctions. It's like different pictures now than what we were looking at a couple weeks ago.
let's bring it up real quick. I will share my screen.
Okay.
All right, so there is a visual component to this part of the episode. So if you're driving or something or working out, maybe come back to this. We're just going to go over the
Pull over
new scans.
immediately
Pull over,
and
go to the
watch
change
this.
room, whatever it is. You need to see this.
Take a
Uh,
bathroom break.
I've pulled up the new Illustrator scan in extremely high resolution. If my audio sounds a little bit different, that's because this crashed my PC the first time. What is the deal with the resolution on this? Like it is insane.
I don't know where you got this picture. I've never this is a really, really good picture.
Yeah, it's Okay, but basically, here's the thing. These new scans, this card to me feels like a really solid 10 all of a sudden, which is a little suspicious because we know for a fact that it was graded a 9 multiple times. Why does it look so clean now?
I don't know. So my first thought was tinfoil hat. Somebody's cleaning the card. They fixed it. They altered it. I was not looking at these scans. Obviously, I was looking at the ones on Golden because they changed those ones as well. They uploaded new pictures to the auction site, and I just wanted to see if that's what if they were going to do that, and they did. And then I was looking at the card, and it looks so much cleaner. Obviously, the case was beat up. It was an old case. It's a two cert. Um, but yeah, the card looks so much better now in this case. So I don't know if we were all just haters before. It still has whitening. There's still several spots where it has whitening.
Yeah, so looking at the top left of the back of the card here, because this is where most of that, that's where most of the whitening is visible. There are three small specks. I think this is nothing. Like
That's pretty
this,
minimal. Yeah.
yeah, this is minimal. I know for sure CGC Pristine 10 can have this kind of whitening. I don't know about black labels. I'm not that big into BBLs, so maybe that would qualify for that. Um, but the bad corner
BBLs.
was the top right, and we can still see that white. That's
Yeah.
the worst on this card, right?
Yeah, that's probably the worst. I think there was a spot in the bottom too, but those were also some smaller white spots. Overall, the card just looks so much better. It's obviously not a 10 by today's standards, I would say. In my mind, it's not a 10 by today's standards from what I've seen with grading. But 2 to 4 certs are pretty infamous with PSA that time for having cards that are in 10s looking like this. So for how they were grading back then, this is pretty on par. There's that one spot right there at the bottom,
Yeah,
pretty minimal, and then I think the left side too. But
this corner looks way cleaner.
yeah, like you said, the top right is definitely the most obvious. But if there's like no surface issues and it's just this whitening and specks on the back, this is pretty on par from what I've heard from others that were grading with 2 and 4 certs who have owned those era of certs. They kind of say, yeah, that the grading wasn't as strict back then. Um, so I'm not as
Yeah,
mad as I was a couple weeks ago about it.
I wouldn't be, I would fully expect that this card got the full treatment. Like they definitely wiped it down. They have definitely cleaned it up. I'm not claiming that they altered anything. I think they probably didn't.
Yeah,
Um, but
doubtful.
definitely, this wasn't just like hey, let's throw it in a new slab. This was, they definitely wiped it down, removed any dust. Um, the
What do
bottom
you
edge
go ahead?
has a bit of a dull cut here. Hey, I'm being
Yeah, not
super picky, by the way.
yeah. Yeah, there's just some tiny white specks along the bottom. Nothing super crazy for this old of a card and this like tier of a card. This is such a huge. It's the card in the Pokemon hobby. So this is something I wouldn't be mad at if I had a copy of this. But what do you think about the fact that Golden just kind of went ahead and re-slabbed it in the middle of an auction? Like if I'm a buyer of a product or bidding on a product, I expect what I put $5 million bid on to be what I'm getting. Not saying like obviously this is better, but what if that person wants the original case? What if there was like some story to like wanting the card in the case it's been in for 20 years or however long it's been in that case, and for them to just go and change it in the middle of an auction is kind of weird. I mean, granted, like you said, there was getting a lot of heat online for how the card looked, and maybe this was the better move, the smart move, but it just kind of maybe a little bit unethical in my mind to do that.
Yeah, I think there's an argument there for sure. I think this was ultimately probably what I would have done too. This card was getting a lot of heat. We went over it in a previous episode. It looked like absolute dog crap. It looks a lot better now. Maybe
Yeah,
if they stated that, like, hey, if you buy this card, we'll give you a free reslab or something. But I think, Golden and Logan and PSA are all incentivized to make this card look as good as possible. It will go for more money if it looks if they're using this scan over the last one. I think that's, even a smooth brain simpleton knows that.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about this card in a 10 slab than I did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. Weird situation though.
Yeah, for
Weird
sure.
situation. All right, I'm gonna close this before my PC crashes.
Yeah.
That is, what's the deal with the resolution, man? Like, is there any other scan with that resolution? That is crazy.
Yeah, I would
I wasn't even
never seen
zoomed
that
in
for a
all the way. I
PSA
was
scan or any
afraid to
card.
zoom in more.
You see the molecules.
Yeah, the like chemical
Yeah.
compounds.
Next, I think we have something else from the auction, some news. They were also auctioning off a base set first edition booster box, not for $9,000. They were auctioning off the individual packs for Logan Paul's next box break, I believe, right?
Mhm.
He's doing another box break, and like he did in 2019. And how much did the packs go for? They were auctioning them off individually, right?
Yeah, it was anywhere between 32,000 and 46,000 USD for a total of $1.39 million.
That's wild. New record. That's crazy. That's way more than last time, right?
Oh yeah.
Like three
I
times as
believe
much.
I believe they were sub 10K last time.
That's a steal. And what do you get with it? You get the pack, and then you get a little like 20-second ad, right, during the box break or something.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm
I think
not
that's
really paying attention.
I think that's what they did last time. It's like you could buy it. Mostly it was like companies, I think, that were buying these, or big streamers or whoever. But you got like a little 20-second shout out with the booster pack to like advertise your company, or a personal message, whatever you want. Ultimately, you could let them know, as long as it's within that 20 seconds.
That's going to be a painful box break.
Yeah, I never watched the original one, honestly.
So we're going
I've
to have
watched clips of
36
it.
ads?
Yeah, I guess, but I think they break it up into a long whole deal. I
Great.
Yeah, I don't know. It's great advertisement, honestly. It's probably worth it for a lot of the companies that are. I'm guessing companies that are going to do this. Maybe it's a few bigger YouTubers. Who knows?
Okay, so to summarize that, Logan Paul, Golden, and PSA milk every penny out of this auction block.
Great
Moving
business.
on, something just worth noting: the Burger Chew has passed 210,000 PSA 10s.
Wild. That's another regret of mine. Not buying more of those when they were 800 yen a pack over here. There was very briefly a few hours. I remember watching it that day they released, and they were like 800 a pack, and then they went to 2,000 a pack. And I put on like my Instagram story. I'm uh, like all the people that are buying this at 2,000 yen a pack are crazy. And then it shot up to like the PSA 10 selling for $400 or something crazy.
I don't know what they're at now. It's
You
got
get
to
like
be low.
$50 for a PSA 10. I don't know what the raw pack price is, but I think you can get a PSA 10 for like $50 probably.
And I think so. If there's 210 PSA 10s, how many of those do you think are being hoarded by like a few individuals?
Hoarded unintentionally. People, I think, are stuck with them.
You think so? I don't think people are like that crazy to get rid of them unless they like took out a high interest loan or something.
I got a picture from a friend today, and he's one of those people I was talking about that came in around the same time and has a business now. And he showed me this. Hopefully, he doesn't mind me showing this.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. I've seen at
Just
least
stacks.
2 other photos like this.
Yeah, there's probably plenty of people with these, and I don't know. I don't know how many people. I mean, it depends on the price they got them for, I guess. If you got it at 800 to 2,000 yen a pack, and you graded it for another 2 or 3,000, I don't know. You're breaking even almost right now. Maybe you made a little bit money if you got yours back early and you sold enough off. Like when they were selling for $400, you wouldn't need to sell too many of those to make up your costs in what you paid out. So maybe that's all profit now, and they're just happily like, selling a couple per day.
Yeah, and I've seen similar photos of the Van Gogh Pikachu too.
Oh, really?
I saw one, I think it was a reel or TikTok or something where the guy was like, it was his background was just like this like weird dark and light like bluish thing, and then he like turns around and picks up the camera and it's all Van Gogh Pikachus, just
Man,
stacks and stacks. It was slabs on their side, and I thought it was some like cool background he had. No, it was a wall of
it was a
slabs.
wall. Oh my god.
And so
Great wall of
I
Van Goghs.
see 210,000 PSA 10s, and I'm like, okay, but I think there's a few people out there that have 10,000, like,
Oh yeah, for
um,
sure. I
so
think
yeah,
yeah, there was, I forget the shop's name. I think it was Sakura Card Shop or something. It sent like 10,000 or something. They were putting one of their X posts, Twitter posts.
crazy. Another thing that happened, we got some new simplified Chinese exclusive promo packs coming out with a new stamp. So
Yeah.
for any stamp collectors out there,
I don't know.
um,
These are the pictures, right? This is what you're talking about?
yeah, yeah,
That's
we
a
got a
cool little
new.
promo pack. I like the little silhouette of Pikachu on there.
Yeah, I like that it's got the same theme as like the Poke Gym ones.
Is this
It's
the
a
stamp right here?
That's the stamp. Yeah, that's a
Oh, okay,
zoom in
cool.
of the oh my gosh, I don't know the Pokemon's name. The like the boy God of
That's
War.
Pikachu. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it looks like they're doing those reverses too. How they have the Master Ball or the Pokeball like cocked to the side, offset. I really like that reverse style.
Yeah, so if you're a stamp collector or if you're a species collector, these are also available in two different styles of reverse, the Pokeball and the Master Ball. So yeah, another one of those Chinese releases that's like just gonna make things hell for master setters or species collectors. But I think the stamp's good. I like it.
Yeah, I like this stamp. I'm usually not a stamp person, but I like this stamp a lot. Looks cool. Really quickly, I didn't put this on the Weekly Weedle Google Doc, but the Poke Park opened. I don't know if it's open to general public or just certain people that have like the advanced tickets to go into the park. But we've been seeing pictures. I don't know if you've been seeing the pictures of people in there taking,
Mhm.
you know. But yeah, they came out with this. I saw this post earlier today, and it's a sheet of what looks like Pokemon cards. And at first, it just looks like they're printed on the sheet. There's 5 Pikachu Pokemon cards that are all not new arts.
They
They're
look
arts that we've seen.
peelable.
They look peelable. That's what I was thinking. So I was like, is this a peelable sheet of promo cards? But uh, Dark Ibex, he let me know that they're actually stickers. They're not cards, which I think is smart. I got kind of excited. I was like, cool, Poke Park promos are back. Because they did it before at the last park. But this is probably pretty intentional that they're not cards and that they're also not just stickers that are individual like card size stickers, because we've seen before that people grade those. We have like usually when they come out with a sticker, it's something like card size that could be put into a slab. I remember like early in one of the early episodes I talked to you about the curry cards. Do you remember like the packs of curry here they
Yeah,
have, and
yeah.
then the stickers were coming in this, there's like a dollar, $2 thing of curry, and people were sending this sticker in and getting it graded and selling it for like $100 in a PSA slab. So I'm wondering if this was intentional, where they put it all on one big sheet so people couldn't get it graded. Um, I think that might be the case. And then the other thing that they came out with that you can get when you're there is this Pokemon Jumbo card, but it has no artwork in the card. It's a cutout, and you can carry the card around and like do photo ops with it and kind of make your own art. It's like a frame. It's like the frame of the card.
That's so
Everything but the
cool.
art box is cut out. And people are going around to the park and making their own artworks. This is super cool looking.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, that'll make for a really like quirky, rare collectible one day.
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be too hot, you know?
No, and I think it's a size to where I don't know if you can get this graded because it's like it looks like it's bigger than a normal jumbo, right?
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. I might watch somebody's gonna grade it. They'll figure it out.
All right, should we move on to listener Q&As?
Ah, yes, we have a couple questions this week. First question is from, let's go with Braden. Braden Groom, not a leg question this week. He asks, who would win in a staring contest between Gloom and Snorlax?
Okay, so Snorlax sleeps though. Like he's always falling asleep and he's got to move rest.
Yes,
And I mean you close your eyes when you sleep. So I
never
I
opening them.
I think that Gloom would probably win.
Uh, I don't know. I said Gloom would win for different reasons, though. I thought they both, I'm assuming, have eyes. I think I've seen Gloom's eyes in the anime when it like gets scared. They get that like big eyeball cartoon
Okay.
look, but I don't know if I've ever seen Snorlax's eyes, but I'm assuming he has eyes. And then I was thinking more on their typing in their attacks, kind of similar to what you were thinking, but I was thinking if Gloom used some kind of like uh, stun spore or powder, fog effect, that it would maybe like the dust from that attack would make Snorlax like sneeze, and like if its eyes were open, it would blink. That was my I guess my way of reasoning that Gloom would win.
I like that. Yeah, Gloom, poison powder, sleep powder,
Yeah,
stun spore. I don't think either of them are very good at staring. I think Snorlax has a higher chance of falling asleep.
that's true. Yeah, he'd close his eyes because he'd fall asleep. Yeah, that's, I had to get super creative to answer this. I was like, how do I answer this?
Huh. Okay.
So
Okay,
we
we're
both think
moving on to.
Gloom, right?
Yeah, I think Gloom. Yeah.
Okay. Let us know, Braden, if we were right or not. Next question. This is the last question we got from Platypus. She said, have you guys ever gotten attached to a Pokemon you didn't necessarily like before for some reason? And I think she gave an example of a Pokemon that she had used in ZNA. I think it was Camerupt.
Yeah.
She didn't initially like Camerupt, but then she used him in the game, and then now she likes the Pokemon.
Yeah, I think we've touched on that before, right? Building that connection through the gameplay. For me, that was Golduck. I think it must have been one of my Gen 1 playthroughs
Mm.
where I ended up with a Golduck, and that guy slaps. Like, that is a strong Pokemon. And he carried my team right through to the end of the game. And I've just absolutely bonded and been in love with Golduck ever since. Similarly, Vileplume was a good one, which is now one of my favorite Pokemon. I'm trying to
Mm.
think of like a Gen 2 or 3 to sort of spice things up.
That you
But
didn't like before that you do now?
yeah, but those are the ones that come to mind. I will say, playing Legends Arceus right now, I'm
Mm.
trying to get new Pokemon, but my team is mostly Gen 1 Pokemon, and there's a
It's
Golduck
so
on my
hard, right?
team. There's a Golduck on my team. So,
That's cool. Yeah, I think we have talked about this before. I will say, like, yeah, definitely like using Pokemon in a game. Try using something new, and you might find out you like it or become attached to it because it works out really well for you. And you're like, oh, this Pokemon's actually really good. I did that early on with like Executor. It's not like really a Pokemon people necessarily like, maybe like, I mean, it's popular, but it's not widely popular. And I didn't like it necessarily at first, but then I was like, oh, this guy's sick. And then Gen 9 Pokemon is something too that I started using in the game. And also in the anime, that's like another thing. If you watch the anime and you get some kind of like story with the Pokemon and like lore, you become more attached to it. There's other reasons besides the design of the Pokemon to maybe like it. So like Ceruledge is really cool. I think Son of a Mercs talked about, and when I hear people talk passionately about a Pokemon too that I don't like, it gets me excited about it. So Son of a Merc talking about Ceruledge, it's like probably one of my top favorite Pokemon now. Um, he's like a badass Pokemon. Um, I lost it. There was one that I was like, I thought was like a hot take that I really like. Oh, it was the other reason besides the video game, the anime, the TCG is something that I started playing a couple years ago with my kids and using Dragapult deck or the Goldango deck. Goldango's kind of goofy, and I was like, this is a dumb Pokemon. You just put some coins of like gold together, but he's really good in the TCG, and I just like how strong he is. And now I'm like, oh, it's a cool Pokemon. So yeah, using other mediums to like interact with Pokemon and get to like, I guess, get to quote unquote know them can help you like, I don't know, become more attached to them and appreciate them more than just like getting cards and ripping through a pack.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun, kind of just making a new friend.
Yeah.
All right, well, there's one more thing I want to say. I will be in Vancouver at Collectopia on February 7th. Um, there's a certain room I'll be in, and I'm doing a 1 hour meet and greet. So if you happen
Okay.
to be there and you want to um, come meet me because I don't think a lot of people are. So come keep me company.
Please.
Okay,
Maybe I'll make
thank you.
a trip down there to, I'll hop on a plane and come see you.
Thank you for listening to this week of the Weekly Weedle. We appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, drop them below, and we'll see you next week.
Peace. Weekly Weedle.